feel a little bad for Northwest. Because this is the first time she's realizing she's not good.
If you follow the NBA, I'm certain you're aware of the situation of Bronny James, son of NBA legend LeBron James, and Rich Paul, who is the agent of both of them. He said in a recent interview, "When you look at America as a whole, it's built on nepotism. No one is having this conversation about Jim Dolan. He owns the Knicks, but his dad built a business. Same with Cassie Weisserman. Lou Weisserman built a business. I got plenty of friends that come from very wealthy families whose families built a business. And when it's their turn to take charge, they're not sitting on the couch. They're looking to enhance it."
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you." If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
If you followed Bronny James' career, you know that he had a really scary setback when he was about to go to college. It's one that's reminiscent of what happened with Loyola Marymount and Hank Gathers. And it's one of the reasons why I'm somewhat reticent to watch him, because I don't know if I could watch someone collapse on the floor again, because it just shook me. But all in all, I think he's going to end up a decent, maybe even a star player in the NBA. But there's a different point I want to make in this particular video, and it is, how good would he have been if he had to take the harder road, where if he maybe weren't the son of LeBron James and he had to go through a different path to get to the NBA? There's no doubt that he would have been a much better player, a much hungrier player, if he had to take that path. And it's the difference between those two that I want to talk about in this video.
Get your pack off this so we could go.
I ain't want it.
It's hard to believe that 30 years ago, The Lion King was released by Disney, and the feature song on the Disney soundtrack was sang by a young boy named Jason Weaver, who is now 30 years older and much, much richer. But he made a name for himself because he was an absolutely excellent singer, and he stole the show with his voice. 30 years later, a very American concept is playing itself out.
Big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
I'm not one to criticize a minor, because Northwest is simply doing the best that she knows how. She's very lucky to be in a situation where her parents' wealth and power can get her into the opportunity of doing the reboot of Lion King. Of course, many people on the internet are not nearly as gracious as I being here, but one thing cannot be denied. In America, we believe it's not about how you get there. It's about getting there. The end always justifies the mean.
James had a wife and a girlfriend when I met him. I knew I could get him though.
You don't have to be an expert in American pop culture to know the path to fame that Kim Kardashian took. She has since leveraged that fame to meet with presidents on both sides of the aisle, and I don't blame the presidents for doing that, because with her comes eyeballs, with eyeballs comes votes. And she is a testament to the fact that in our country, in America, how you get there doesn't matter. You get to fame any way you can get there. And once you get there, you are the one that's going to be lauded. And thus, if your goal is to get famous, it makes all the sense in the world. But if your goal is something else, that's when you have problems.
Unless you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant, college is a total waste of time. I'm sorry, all the college people and highly educated people with really expensive pieces of paper on your wall. The truth of the matter is there's only 3 people in my life that I care to have a college education, or college at all: a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant. At the end of the day, man, we have supercomputers in our pockets.
Something I've come to understand as I've gotten older is that the truth is not an absolute. It depends on where you're standing. If you're someone that's starving and you steal, then for you, it looks like survival. From the shop owner, it looks like theft. And in this particular situation, if you want to avoid going into debt so that you can have money, this makes all the sense in the world. But what if the goal, again, is not getting to the money as fast as possible? What if it's something else?
Like, my son literally has learned Photoshop and videography through YouTube and is making significantly more money than anybody that he knows by doing photography and videography by what he learned on YouTube in 2 months. I'm not going to say it's a scam, but college is not necessarily the best place for you to send your kids or spend any money or spend any time. Just go to YouTube.
Good morning and welcome to a very small village, or small city as some people will call it. And I'm not going to mention the city or the village that I'm talking about until I get into some conversations with some locals.
This is Felthamy. He's one of my absolutely favorite YouTubers, and here he's graduating with his master's in China. What is so beautiful about his channel is that it focuses on interaction with the locals. And of course, it's all in Chinese because he speaks it. What's so beautiful about his channel is that everything that you're seeing on his channel, none of it can be bought.
你好，早上好。早上好。这是卖啥的？
卖啊。
卖是什么？
什么？
我看一下，可以拿一个给我看一下。
你看啥呀？
我想看一下，那个银色的。哦 ，You've got some ball, you know， 这个里 there's some fish inside it。我问一下，哎，这个多少钱？
那个10块。
10块。
对。
哦。
俺讲的你也能听懂嘞。
听懂一点一点。
他的可以，他的。
听懂一点一点。
对对对。
你喜欢哪个颜色？
这个颜色不错。
这个颜色不错。
对，金黄色。
金色。
金都代表
对
你的财运。
对。
可以知道。
你说啥？
啊？
你说啥？
我金都代表一个人的财运，你看不见吗？金光闪闪。
可以，看出来。
One of the beautiful things that happens when you study a language is that the more that you study it, the more it slows down for you. And so I could hear words like jinsi, which is gold, or he says here, kanchilai, which I just studied a couple of weeks ago. And what's beautiful about the effort is that when you take the hard path of doing the work of something that's going to require effort because it is a skill, there's a reward at the end of it. The reward is not getting to the finish line as fast as you possibly can. The reward is the journey and getting better little by little. And at the end, when you get to the ability of being able to speak the language or whatever that skill might be, you get to live every day with the satisfaction of knowing that you acquired a skill that it took you days and weeks and months and years to perfect. And no one can take it away from you.
You got my guys out there in Sasua, all right? Then came up on a little chick that don't mind being on live, which is cool, all right? But I don't know who added, you know, the $10 cheek kisses and all that.
$10 here, $10 here, $20 here.
Shout out to BMT Travels. He's kind of like the CNN of Passport Bros in that he covers many of the happenings and goings-ons of guys that are traveling around the world. And when I saw this particular live, I couldn't help but contrast it with what I see on Felthamy's channel.
¿Cómo ves? Come on. Look at that face. Look at the...
I'm not one to take issue with the way that people make their content or the kind of content that people make. We're all adults. We can make the content that is allowed in a free market. I don't have a problem with it one way or the other. But I can say that there's a difference of being with the people and being of the people. And the biggest difference in being with people and being of them is how much energy you put into understanding their condition, into understanding how they live their lives. And the best way to do that is to learn their language. And when you learn their language, you have to go through the painstaking process of word by word, phrase by phrase, understanding what they mean when they say certain things. And until you go through that difficult process, you can't understand what their lives are actually like. What you can do is you can use the economic might that you might have, or the privilege that we have coming from a country that is very wealthy, and use that to get what we want. But at the end of the day, we can't understand the experience of the average person in that country unless we go through the steps.
Look at this is on Roblox.
What? Who made that? Who made that? Let me see. Click on it. Oh, hold on.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's not okay though, it's not. You know, on Roblox. You know, Sam was on Roblox yesterday. And a thing popped up and he started laughing. I was like, Mommy, look, and it was a picture of my cry face. And it was a game that someone made of Roblox. And it said Kim's new sex tape. When you clicked on it, thank God he can't read yet.
When I look at what's happening right now with Northwest in her getting a part that she probably didn't deserve, but she got it because her parents are powerful, it works in America because we don't really care about how good the end product is as much as we care about, did you win? If you win, then the end justifies the means. And you could say the same thing with LeBron and Bronny. It's not about how did you get there, it's I'm going to make sure that you get a place at the table. And if you aren't the player that you need to be when you're at the table, don't worry, we'll find a way to solve that problem when we get there. I say this because I think it affects the way that we interact with the rest of the world as Americans when we go overseas. And for many of us as Americans, it's all that matters is that I get what I want. And if what I want is a young lady, or I want to have fun, or I want to be on Instagram, or trend on social media, we go there first. The point I wanted to make in this video is that there is actual merit in the struggle. It's not something that you could put on Instagram. It's not something that is going to trend on social media, but it's going to create a person that is going to, on the back end, be able to interact with the people around them, or appreciate what it took to get to where you are, and have a better understanding of the world around you. And I think for many Americans going overseas, we skip this part of it. The hard part of doing the work, sitting in your room, studying by yourself to learn the language so that your baseline interaction on the backside of all of it is fundamentally different, as we see in Fel Thummy's videos. Take some time and go through the difficult part, the hard steps, because on the back end of the hardship, the struggle, there actually is a reward, something that we don't see very heralded in modern day pop culture in America. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video.